theory. It's not what I thought about it at all. I thought it would come something akin to AI. Are we living in a simulation? And this question has been really into my mind lately. It all was birthed with Matrix. I had ate a spicy chicken wings. Love me some chicken wings, and we were stuck on the toilet for a long ass time. And then because I was stuck, I had the worst thing that could happen. I had a giant jar of peanuts next to it. So I was watching movies and just chilling, but we were still in the toilet, right? And I started eating peanuts, and the peanut also is a laxative. Mm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I forgot. We have a. Let me know if it's something extra. I like to have a single hot dog sausage by hummus. Why? Because then I can be like, yo, I'm a man and I eat man stuff and I eat meat. Right? But also, this is the perfect level of saltiness. Because it comes really balancing. Hummus is what? Hummus is chickpeas, vinegar, olive oil, and a bit of lemon. So, I watched Matrix. Now, the problem with Matrix is what? The problem with Matrix is on Netflix. They only had the first movie, but it's still very enjoyable. Everything that is explored there, right? Matrix was about that. We live in a simulation, and we are our thoughts are formed for that. Like I got ADHD, so this is gonna be one of the most unfunctional video that you've ever seen. We were living a simulation, making us sleep for. It's actually insane because today I'm in a really foggy mood. With ADHD, you got good days, you got some bad days. This is a foggy day, which is why we're taking a step back from making content and we're just having fun. So in Matrix, what they were doing is they would have a bunch of humans serve as batteries, right? So human were producing energy, and as long as the human would live, they would produce energy. What they would do is they would put them in a simulation. Okay, so the simulation is actually quite cool because in the Matrix, what they do is they make you live emotion, they make you live your whole life, right? They make you live your whole life, and like, okay, well, guess what? Because I had a heartbreak, the person that is asleep is feeling emotion. This emotion power up the machines, right? So we do that. But then the matching itself isn't the only one that did that. Naruto did it with the ultimate, the Infinite Tsukuyomi. The Infinite Tsukuyomi is the bad guy, which is Madara. Madara is tired of war, so he said that I'm going to enslave every single person. So I have this immortal tree that produces fruits, and that's feeding the planet. And all I need for this tree to grow is people, right? And the people that are sleeping. The people that are sleeping, they're giving energy to the Infinite Tsukuyomi. And the Infinite Tsukuyomi is allowing them to stay alive, right? It's feeding the people. So it's complex. There's this huge tree, and people are connected to it by the roots, but they're also in cocoons. So they need to keep them alive. So by feeding them energy, by feeding the tree energy, it produces energy to give back to people. That's pretty simple. But also, that's not a simple thing. That is not a simple thing. There's a lot more than that, which is phenomenal. The very first skin of a simulated reality was what? It wasn't AI. It wasn't robots. It was something called The Truman Show. The Truman Show was a show that it was a movie that was released in the 90s and the 80s. And The Truman Show was basically, hey, reality TV right now is huge. So what I would like to do is, I'd like to take a baby, like Baby Truman. And when I take Baby Truman, right, which is the 1990s, which is a big job, and we are gonna give ourselves another sausage. We deserve it. We deserve it. We've been working hard today. we'll have the whole show. So his first kiss, his first love, his first heartbreak, his school, his teenage years, right? And he lived in a town. I don't remember the name of the town, but the Truman Show. Every person in the town are actors, and they're so it's reality TV in a sense that Truman is reality, but it's simulated. It's simulated events. So for example, right, they'll send a girl, and that girl will be his wife, right? So he has his wife, but his wife doesn't really like him. His wife, she's an actress, right? Instead, but then the beautiful thing is, it's like in the matches, and we're going far with this one. But still, just like in the matches, there's a group of people that think that what we're doing to Truman, right, is inhuman, right? It crosses a bunch of wrongs, or it's not. Yeah, it's morally wrong. However, in a sense, it's not morally wrong because the system, which is the Truman Show, feeds him. They give him a home, they give him a job. He still have a normal life. But it's just not a real life, right? So see, this is what I love about ADHD. I'm not planning to make this content. I'm really not making another video which is called the prompt theory. Right? The fact that we have oh, that's hot. That's hot. That's hot. The fact that we have this video is kind of unique to myself, right? What a way not to talk. So with Truman, you would say, yeah, you had a life, but it wasn't a simulated life. And then we come back to animals. So with farm animals, right? Is it morally right to have animals, to breed them, to help them grow, to cultivate animals, just to send them to the slaughter, right? Knowing that they won't have a life, knowing that from the moment they're born, they'll be killed for the meat, right? And what you're doing is you feed them, you give them affection, right? Give them a safe place to live. The Truman Show, this was what was it? Truman was kind of like a circus. It just didn't know, right? And then with the Truman Show, what was beautiful is how far can you push it? So the group of people that came to save Truman were like, yo, Truman deserves life. So the coolest thing is, one of the only events that really happened as crazy is even his best friend was the actor, which sucks. His love life, I don't care. His best friend, that was kind of shitty. So there was this girl, right, who was an activist. And she was hired as a high school sweetheart. And she was hired as an actress, right? Now, the director said, hey, this doesn't make a lot of sense. So the director explained in an interview why she was like that. So when she was hired, she was a normal actress, right? She was a normal actress. But what happened is, as she was filming, she fell in love with Truman for reals. And because she fell in love with Truman for reals, I can do that to him, right? Which is the same thing as a kid. You have the farm, and the parents tell the kid, don't give this animal a name, you'll get attached to it. Right? So, just like in the Matrix with Morpheus group, the Morpheus group is a group that think that people should have their own life, right? So what it does is it has humans with free will, but they're still programs. You can program them, you can train them, you can make them be super powerful. Holy fuck, I just like this is good. So then the AI theory, let's go back to reality. Right? So why was these trees so important? Well, in these trees, there's a mention of something. In Alice in Wonderland. Alice in Wonderland is possibly one, if not the piece of fiction with the most effect on real life. So, it's so nice. It's so nice. My favorite game, Zelda Majora's Mask, is inspired by Alice in Wonderland. So Alice in Wonderland also has an effect on, are we living in simulation? So Alice in Wonderland, she has a shitty life, right? And she runs away, and she runs away, right? And then what ended up happening is she fell into a hole. And she fell into a hole and she fell into this reality where there's talking rabbit, there's a queen, there's super mean, there's a mad hater, the mad hatter, there's a cat, right? And she falls into this world, right? And this world is crazy. And she see that this world is real. There's no such thing as a talking rabbit, there's no such thing as a talking cat, right? There's literal cards that are talking to her. Ugh. Captain Fatfinger strikes again. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I did it again. I fucked it up, as they say in French. So coming back to what I'm saying, part two of is, are we living in a simulation versus are we AI, or are we simple prompts? And we're gonna check out the prompt theory. I think I'm gonna do it tomorrow or today, I don't know. Depends on how much I have to work. So today I only have to work on Trailer Park Boys, which is about 10 episodes, which is about 7 minutes each, which is 7 minutes. It's not that bad. I'm gonna put on the batteries also. So all of this to say, with Alice in Wonderland, she's in this reality, right? But the question in Alice in Wonderland is, what if this was real? What if the world you were used to was a fake world? There's always this question of, did you fall into a hole? And that hole was a opening to another dimension. What dimension is yours, right? And Alice in Wonderland also explores something called the multiverse, or something called different timeline, or quantum theory. The quantum theory is the possibility of multiple timeline existing, and multiple timeline existing. In the timeline, I'm a woman. In the timeline, live in another country, right? And it's different timeline, and they're all from the same place. And the beautiful thing with Alice in Wonderland and this theory of the multiverse is, how are they different? Technically speaking, DNA wise, advanced in French, DNA wise, I'm the same person, right? I would have the same parents, right? So I would be the same, which is nature versus nurture. How much does the surrounding affects me, right? And if we talk about the different universe, for example, are we living on a planet called Mars, which is a lot hotter, right? Are we Martians? There's so much in here, but the big plot of it is, she falls into a hole and she has this new reality. And the question is, did she ever make it out? So movies that have been part of the culture, like Coraline, they explore the exact same thing, right? Then the funny thing is, my favorite game, Majora's Mask, is he falls into this hole and then he ends up in Termina. Termina uses the same character. So, oh my god, this is beautiful. This is fucking phenomenal. So, Termina, what it does is, on paper, it's a alternate reality to Hyrule, which is the name of the planet. The name, it's not a planet, I'm so sorry. It's the name of, like, the world you visit. And, okay, enough time. It's technically not true. We got the Hyrule, we had the Hyrule Field, we have Ikana, we have the Goro Valley, we have Kakashi Village. Is it so long that I played this? Kakariko Village, we have the Death Mountain, we have the Goron Cave, we have the Zora Temple, we have the Zoras, right? So we're using every single one of the same characters. So in this case, Link fall into a hole, right? So a lot of people say Link is dead, and Majora's Mask is such a dark game, right? But what if the hole was just like Borderland, Alice in Wonderland? And maybe that's what it was, right? And maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was always about that. Maybe it was always about the fact that this is not a reality. What is the real reality? Zelda, Ocarina of Time, or Zelda Majora's Mask? And it's the same characters, right? The same NPCs, right? A different villain, but everybody is the same, right? Except for Zelda, it's not in the game. I think it's really cool. I actually really like that. However, it comes with a problem. The reality of it is because Ocarina of Time was so good. But the company behind Zelda, not Nintendo, the company that was working on it, said we put in so much effort for the 3D model, we put in so much effort for the Ocarina of Time. We don't know if we want to make another. We don't know if we're gonna be able to make another game before the GameCube comes out. The GameCube, which was the next in line for Nintendo. So then they reuse every single NPC. That way they didn't have to work on NPC. They use a lot of the same characteristics. So the way you move, the way you jump. Epona is the same. The Ocarina is the same. A lot of the songs are the same. A lot of the weapons are the same. We have the hookshot, we have the bow, and yes, the design of said weapon does change. We have the Eye of Truth, the bottle, the different arrows. Right? It's different, but it's the same, right? And then let's come back to reality. The Wonderland is amazing, and to be honest, it's such a simple concept. From this is I sound crazy, and possibly I am, but who gives a shit? Possibly see, it's nuts because when you look at Truman Show, right? It was a controlled reality. It wasn't AI and everything, right? And when as I was younger, maybe this is different. I was born in the '90s, but I've always heard like, oh, this is fate. This is fate. This is the will of God. And even I'm watching this TikTok couple, and they're really cool. They get a family. Get a family. They have these kids, Charlie and AJ. The name of I think it's Ariel Getter and Austin Getter. Amazing couple, and they're really religious, right? And it's funny because they have this daughter, and this daughter, I think she's 4 or 5, right? So she's starting to understand life. She's starting to be having her own opinion. So then, when something happened, and there's a specific video. There's this really specific video where she's pretending to be like a cook, and Austin's like, our father, like, give me everything on the menu. And then they gave everything on the menu, and then Charlie, Austin said, how much do I owe you? And Charlie says a really small amount, right? So as a kid, you don't know the value of cash. But then Austin's like, how can you afford all of this, right? How can you afford all of this? But not charge more than that. And Charlie, again a child, says, I guess the words provide. And to me, that was so meaningful because this is how much he believes in it, right? This is how much he believes in it, and this is their perception. Even a kid understands that there's sitting next to control. That's something that will be provided by life in itself. If it's God, it's God. If it's life. Which again, I think is really powerful. But it's more than that. It's more than just that. So in the case of Charlie, she's religious, right? But take somebody else. Take somebody else and say, give me a second. Who can I give an example out of? Yeah, it's a bit more complex. Who can I give an example out of? I didn't think about that. A gambler that goes to gamble and say, well, my luck will turn. Is luck really real? Right? Is it something that's calculated? Is it a prompt? Right? There's something kind of cool with the prompt theory. The way I understood it was all 1 and 0, which when you see the matrix, it's all 1 and 0 that passed. 1 is yes, 0 is no. So you'll have a bunch of events in your life, right, which is a code, and you'll have a 0 and a 1. Are you going to be positive or negative about it? With religion, and even as a kid, I always understood that it's so, because I don't want to offend people. See, the Vikings, right? They had the Nordic mythology, so a lot of people are familiar with the Greek mythology, but where it's really at, the real like beauty of mythology to me is Nordic mythology, because in mythology there's more God, there's also more story. So if you wanted to teach lesson to a kid, if you want to teach life to a kid, then you'd use a mythology. For example, there's a thunder, this is Thor, right? And everything could be explained by an act of a god, not God, but a god. A different religion. Am I religious myself, and do I believe in God? I believe that everybody has a point that's right. I feel like the Quran has something that's right, the Bible has something that's right, the Torah has something that's right, the Hinduism has something that's right, the Buddhism has something that's right. Right? Everybody has something that's right. But if good exists, evil also exists, right? If good exists, evil also exists, and evil says, you know what, fuck you. Um, I'll make sure that everybody's fighting. If we came together, we would find the truth. But now everybody is fighting. For example, Palestine and Gaza, which the Muslim and Jews, right? But then there's something better than that. If there's the good and the evil, right? There's some force of good, there's some force of evil. There's also more than that. So, for example, I was talking about the prompt, which is 0 and 1. So, for example, if 0 is no and 1 is yes, you would have good, which is 1. You would have evil, that is 0. It's also a positive and negative, right? And then, in a fucked up sense, it's a balance, right? It's a balance. What if the balance was? Oh, I died. What if the balance, the very very simple act of, well, I can't only put I have to put some zeros. What if I had a quota of i's to put in and a quota of zeros to put in? I'm saying i's, but it's one. It's not I, it's one. And to me, this is phenomenal. What if the simulation? And to me, as a kid, I was like, okay, well, God is watching. God is watching. My parents used to tell me that, and it's so funny because with ADHD, I didn't pay attention in Bible class. So when I was a kid, my understanding was, I know God is real. I know He's watching over me. I know that if I'm not nice, I'll go to hell. If I'm nice, I'll go to heaven. But I didn't understand who was God. I didn't understand what it meant. What meant religion. What religion meant, right? So I would just be fearful. And even then, my father would give me shit, right? And my father would give me shit, and I wouldn't remember what he said. I don't remember what was the lesson. He would give me shit, and I remember being in trouble, and I wouldn't remember why, right? And to me, this is also called like a simulation, because what if I think one of the systems I explained the best is the good place. The good place was saying, the good place, which is phenomenal, is very smart, but the good place in itself, what it does is, they said how to go to hell and how to go to heaven, right? And the good place, they said, well, everybody starts at 0. If you do something good, you're at 1. If you do something bad, you're at 0. You're at -1, right? And at the end, what they do is, do you have more point or less point than 0? If you have more points, you go to heaven. If you have less points, you go to hell, right? Or they would do in mythology, which we saw in Sandman on Netflix. They would put a balance, and they would put your heart, right? And they would put a feather. Now this one is different. It's stipulated that if your heart is pure, and if your heart is full of good intention, your heart should be lighter than a feather. And if your heart is lighter than a feather, you're a good person, right? But all in all, it's not up to you. If we live in a simulation, I think the problem we have with in the situation is we think that somebody was controlling us, right? What if it was just a scenario? What if it was just a bit of prompt? I thought something, and again, I'm going to be offending a lot of people, but it's not the case. That is not the goal, right? Please understand this. I saw something that blew my fucking mind. So I was in the 90s, right? I love Pokemon. I absolutely love Pokemon. The first game in Pokemon was Red and Blue. Red is a game that is now 30 years old. Super simple to emulate, super simple to use. There's a programmer. He's a programmer. I don't know who he is, but he did a AI set. So he did 30. I don't remember if it's 30. I think it's more than that. Let's say 50, just to be safe. He did 50 different playthroughs of Pokemon Red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They all had the same starting point. They all had the ending point. What they would do is it's so complex. What they would do is they would play the game as AI. So they would learn the game. So for example, if I go against this guy by using this Pokemon, I'll die. Or if I go here, there's a wall, I'm not gonna be able to move. And this 50 playthrough shared a hive mind. With the hive mind, they had learn lesson, learn mistake, right? At the end, the game was completely won by AI. Now this is a game that was 30 years old, it's a game that's simple, but it's kind of crazy, right? Even in Naruto, I was talking about Naruto before. I've been watching Naruto again. What if Naruto have one of these Sharingan Jutsu, which is multiplying himself, right? Now, the craziest thing is, yes, it's a fucking show. But multiplying yourself would be multiplying your consciousness. So the ability to learn lesson, right? The ability to learn lesson. And then the ability to learn lesson taught him something. So for example, he wants to learn this new technique. So he has at 100,000 clones, and they all learn something. What if that was the goal of simulation? Yeah, people think that we're pawns in a game, and people are simulating us to live. Even a game like Sims is absolutely super realist. So, for example, we can have a guy that goes to job. If you don't clean yourself, if you don't do X, Y, Z, he's not gonna do what he needs to do. But itself, the nicest thing about the Sims is that you live this life, right? And you have kids, and you die, of course, but still. And it's all about this. It's all about I want to live this lifetime. Like, what if the goal of simulation was just to recover information? What if we were trying to understand life, right? How crazy would it be? And then the question is, do it really matters? Does it really matters? I'm doing a simulation, as long as I'm having fun, as long as I'm feeling emotion, even if it's fake, even if it's not real, if I'm feeling emotion, then that's worth it, right? I think we're going back to Truman Show. Truman Show, the whole life that he had was a script. The whole life that he had was control. The whole life that he had was, there was even a scene, and it's so fucking funny. He goes to his workplace, right? And there's a scene where he decides to go somewhere else, and the bridge is not built because that's the funniest, and this is the ending. And at the end, the Truman Show I think is the best. The Truman Show I think is some of the best. We talk about it because again it's Alice in Wonderland. It's a simulated reality. At the end, Truman finds a door to leave, right? And then he has the director. The director said, Truman, you really want to leave? I give you a thing that you want. I give you a thing that you need. The world there is dangerous. I'll give you a safe place, right? I give you a safe place. And even if you look at the Bible, because I was raised Christian. I don't remember if I was raised Christian or Catholic. I never remember. But it was the Garden of Eden. It was the Garden of Eden. And with Truman, he said, you have a safe place, you have your life here. You have your own reality here, right? Would you really change? And this is kind of a God. It's not God per se, but it's kind of a God. Because in control of everything, right? And I don't know. To me, this is so meaningful. This is so fucking meaningful, right? I don't know. My favorite game ever is Elden Ring. And this is the exact same thing. Elden Ring, we had this god, right, which is America. And America, she rules with the world, right? She rules the world, and she's in charge of everything. She is responsible for the Elden Ring, which is the survival of the Earth Tree, which is the Earth Tree is the thing that gives life to everybody, right? The main bad guy in Elden Ring is Ron. Ron comes in. So America is, okay, so it's a god that's dying. Ron is supposed to replace her, right? Ron is supposed to replace her, but Ron is like, no, I'm not going to be a slave to you. I'm going to do what I want, right? What she does is she breaks it. She kills somebody, which leads to the breaking of the ring, right? Now, the greatest thing about it, the absolute greatest thing about it is a Rani whole goal. So can you follow her quest line? And if you follow her and you help her out, she'll be the next Elden Lord. And her Elden Lord, the way she works, so it's complex. It's really complex. Oh my god. So yes, America is a god, but it's something called the Greater Will. The Greater Will is these two fingers, right? It's so fucking complex. So fucking complex. But long story short, what she does is Ronnie, she's like, no, we're not gonna be slaves. We're gonna be having our own free will. So she gives people their own free will. But to for this, because I'm going X, Y, Z, I think the most important thing about within a simulation doesn't matter. As long as we live something, as long as we're feeling some emotion, as long as we believe that it's real, as long as we're having some good moments and bad moments, as long as we have a beautiful life, as long as we have children, right? You kind of win at life. And when you win at life, even if it's not real life, and even if you didn't really win, the simple perception of winning makes you happy. And if you're happy, who gives a shit, right? If this life is a simulation, but I'm happy, it's fair. I think it's more the problem would be morally speaking. For example, these people that have a shitty life, the only reason that they have a shitty life is because, so for example, I don't want to be a dick. Oh my god. They live in another country. They have a missing limb. They have a missing limb. They're neurodivergent. They have mental issues, and it just pushes them to be like, yo. Uh, my life is shit, right? Even on the race scale, racism was really rampant in the 1800s. Imagine if it's a simulation, right? And you get to decide if you're born white or black. There's other races, but I'm just saying. And the fact that you're born black automatically means that you might get enslaved and shit like that. It's horrible, you know. So the simulation is actually really, really savage. But there's like in a situation, there's some winner, there's some loser, right? If you're winning, a lot of people like to say, who cares if it's simulation or not? They're gonna have a good life, right? But at the same time, I think it's the same for religion. I saw people, and I'm not judging, but I saw people that the second that something was not going right, they were blaming God and say, God help me, God help me. Without trying to figure the situation out themselves, they're asking for help from God, right? Which is up to you, absolutely. But at the same time, you have to learn from your mistake. You have to learn from an event. If you live through an event and you don't learn shit from it, what's the point, right? For example, you fall, right? As a kid, you fall, and then you get back up, right? And you're like, okay, well, if I fall, I get back up. But if you fall and you ask for God help, right? But then, at the same time, I saw people which religion and belief and piousness got a true life. They had this terrible event happen to them and say, you know what? The Lord will provide. The Lord will provide a solution. And it gave them hope, and they were able to maintain their sanity for long enough for the situation to solve itself. And that is beautiful. That is beautiful. At the end, it doesn't matter who solves the situation. That you're still okay. It doesn't matter, right? Or if you look at the crusade, right? And the crusade is in French. The crusade, the number of atrocities that was made to religion. I watched one of my favorite movie ever. Is Dante's Inferno, right? And Dante's Inferno is also akin. And I know what you're saying, dude. This is not the same subject, but it is. It is. It is a perceived reality. It is perceived reality, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. So with Dante is a religious knight, right? And he has this mission, right, which is to kill the my God, this is gonna sound horrible, but it's to kill the people that don't believe, right? So what happened is Dante does atrocity, right? He commits a lot of crime, right, which is really bad crime. Like he rape, he eats a lot of gluttony, he steals. Every single sin out of the 7 sins, he does them, right? But at the beginning of the movie, which we see only at the end, is he did all of this, yes. But then you see that a priest was like, hey, whatever you do, God will forgive you. You'll have access to heaven, right? Which is nuts. When you look at Islam culture, and Islam culture is there, this is what halal wants. This is what not Islam. So it's very different. And Islam is the Muslim, right? And there's just the extremists, jihadists. And the nice thing about the Muslim is that when there was attack from jihadists of extremists, they're like, yo, we don't condone that. It's not the same thing. I think we automatically put everybody in the same circle. Oh, you follow this religion? Oh, you're the same as them. No. And if you look at it, there's the thing. I'm going to talk about Muslim in general. Some of the Muslim that I had, I met, one of the nicest people. Very, 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 very generous. Very generous. But some of them were not generous. And there's asshole in I'm sure there's asshole at the church, right? So it's all a question of do you feel justified? And again, with Dante's Inferno, it was all the question of Dante did the thing that he did because he thought he was going to be forgiven. He knew that it was wrong, but I was going to be forgiven, right? And why are we going with that? Well, if we're doing a simulation, and you know that nothing matters, right? So for example, right? Example, I did a simulation. We're going to go back to the example of Pokemon, which is how far we're going to go with Pokemon. And this is really cool. I'm going with Pokemon, right? And with Pokemon, again, the Pokemon Red and the AI. And in Pokemon, you were like, yo, I died. So I restart, right? There was no consequences to dying because we're going to be restarting. There's no consequences. So the AI was like, okay, well, there's no problem, right? But if you had only one life, like we do, we took care of it. But if we know that we're gonna be reincarnated, or and Dante's mindset, I not that I want to die, right? Because that's not the case. But if I was to die, I would end up in heaven, which is the place I want to go. So why do I care if I die? Right? It doesn't really matter. There's no real consequences to me dying because I'll go to heaven, right? And that's kind of it. That's kind of it. Simulation could be a way for people, or yeah, for people to be like, fuck that. I don't care about this. I'm gonna do what I want, and if you're not happy, well, fuck you, right? And I think this is what's important. It's how do we? Again, I'm gonna repeat myself, but the question isn't do we live in a simulation? The question is if we know we live in a situation. If tomorrow somebody told us you're living in a simulation, here's why. Here's the reality as to why. Here's the proof that we're living in a simulation. Here's every single information that you need to prove it, right? And everybody would agree that we live in a simulation. How would that change people? Would people act in a different way now that life isn't our own? And I don't know. I don't know. But you know that we're gonna be ending the video here. I have to play the tower because of the tournament. I love you guys. I'll see you guys really soon. Take it easy. Peace. Oh my god. I got so much fucking work, dude. Nice list. Don't you guide us. Touch me, like you. Make me part of your divine. Don't you guide us. I feel fear for the very last time. You tell me keep it special. I tell you touch again. Every part of your desire, to guide us. If I fall, I think I'll fly. Touch me, mind us. Make me part of your desires. If I fall, I think I'll fly. They tell me I'm so special. I smile and shake my head, but they feel no flare. They tell me I'm so humble. Don't blink, it's your blink. Oh, wait a second, I'm not charging correctly. There you go, we're charging good. Don't fucking drop your phone, dude. Don't fucking drop your phone, dude. Don't blink, it's your blink. Welcome to the comfort show. See, this is not good. Hope you're doing well, because I'm having a wonderful day on this 31st May 2025. We are charging the phone. Well, we were trying to charge the phone. It's not really working. So I'm gonna have to figure out something. Give me a quick second. Come on, dude. Just work, bro. I'm not asking for much. I'm just asking you to work. Is that good? No. I don't want to give you access. Don't blink. Yes, you blink. Welcome to Welcome to your show. You guys are doing well because I'm having a wonderful day on this. Dude, I have to show you the setup. On this 31st May 2025, we've been filming for an hour. But today's tournament day, and we woke up super late. So absolutely want to show you the setup. The first setup that you're gonna see is this, which is me hiding it. But you see the batteries, and we're charging our phone. And now I want to show you this, which is us on the computer, and we are charging the phone. So yeah, we'll be working for a long ass time, and that is pretty much cool. This is cool because I have a lot of work to do, and this is better because okay. So this is a long story. The biggest my biggest problem right now is storage. Storage is a huge problem, right? Battery is a problem, but storage is a bigger problem. And the problem with storage is I'll make 10 files a day. And I have to upload 10 files a day, so it takes a long ass time to upload. Versus if I just do one file of, for example, the tower, which will be 70 gigs of data. That's a lot less time for me. So I'll do the best I can, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I'll try. That's pretty much it. So I'll see you guys very soon. Take it easy. It's not working. Fuck you, dude. Good, thank you. Please fucking work. What is not working? Allow. Okay. Don't blink. Is he blink? Welcome to the Computer Show. And we welcome to having a wonderful day on this very rainy 21st, May 25. We are filming the tower. We are filming some videos. This phone is connected to charge from the computer, and this phone is connected to charge from a battery pack. So yeah, so we're running shit. We are absolutely working our hardest